Well, hello everyone, as we come here today for a little bit of guidance for you all. And I always think it's quite nice just to share a few thoughts and a little bit of heads up for each one of us. And I think it's quite nice, isn't it? We could just have that little bit of guidance for the time ahead. I always say whenever I do readings, a little caveat to say that it is for entertainment value only. And I know some people, well, they'll look at readings and they think, like, oh, that's not for me. Fair enough, and I'm sure you probably go elsewhere already. You've probably already gone. But for those who are still here, who enjoy a little bit of reading, a little bit of oracle guidance for us all, I'll just honestly come with a little bit of advice for you all, which you take on board, and hopefully that will have some resonance for you as we go into January, into a new year, 2025, and see what exciting possibilities that may hold for each one of us. And the cards I'm going to use today are what my lovely partner brought for me. They are the Story Oracle cards. A little bit different, these ones. It's not so much of the fancy visuals. They are more quite a direct pointer as to what we need to look into. And of course, every story tells a will have sort of like a nice tale for us to follow. So let's see where we go with this tale, what it all means for you. So first off, I'm just going to give these a little shuffle. I just ask, what do we all need to know right now? We move forward into 2025. We'll start from the top. I'm just going to go three off the top. The first one, if you can see that there, it is called Ruins. I'll try and get that nice and close for you so you can have a good look. Ruins. What does that make you feel about? For me, that makes me feel of the past a little bit. And some of the things where we look back on our lives and think, oh, I wish I would have done that maybe a little bit differently. And the term regret is coming through for me. Now, the problem with regret, and we keep going back to the past, is we can hold our energy in that space. We can almost like a big magnet take ourselves, keep going back there, and it's like, and if we're not careful, we have that very much, oh, woe is me, and everything can go wrong, keeps happening. No point me thinking things are going to go right because it always goes wrong. The problem is we keep going back to those old ruinous times, the times that didn't serve us too well, and kind of inviting in that very same aspect to happen all over again. Don't know about you guys, but I would much rather prefer to go in a higher vibration, a higher energy, and just recognize that the ruins are relics of the past. We don't exist in that time space anymore. They have no relevance to you anymore. Let's imagine for it, if you will, an old sort of like an old building, an old place that's been knocked down. You go into the ruins of that building, maybe as a museum piece or an exploration, but it's an echo of the past. It could be an old image from like, sort of like Elizabethan times, an old manor house that you're wandering around. You're not living there anymore. You're just exploring. You're just looking at the history of that place. The same goes with the things that have happened in your life. Those moments where things weren't maybe as nice as they could have been, and just recognizing that, hey, those times weren't particularly great, but I'm not living in a ruin. I'm living in my house now. I'm living in my flat. I'm living wherever I wish to live. Let us take ourselves into that energy, which is far more beneficial to our energy than traipsing back to the past. Yes, we all have regrets, of course we do. And we're not going to belittle those trying times or those places where it was a bit of a challenge. We let it go with love. We just say, okay, and it all makes who you are today. Why on earth would you want to keep going back to those bad moments? And it's my little bit of advice for you. If you start thinking about those regrets, counteract it with a good positive time. Just imagine you was going out for your first kiss, for example, or a place that holds really happy memories for you. Maybe it was with one of your grandparents or something that you have a real happy memory from there. Take yourself back there because you're time traveling to that moment, which is far more warm, far more beneficial to you. It just makes you feel good. So take yourself to those moments that give you good warmth, good happiness, as opposed to the ruins. We're not going in the ruins. The ruins are bleh, gone. So let's move on to another card without any further delay. And hmm, we have rivalry. So rivalry comes when this aspect of competition isn't there. And I'm going to actually go a little bit inward with us. As opposed to thinking this is some kind of like external person you're like vying with, it could be like, there's a sort of like you want to be this boyfriend to a particular girl or a girlfriend to a particular boy or, girl, boy, boy in these days. But it's like, oh, I need to compete against that one to show I'm the best one they can be. I'm kind of like taking ourselves away from that energy a little bit and more internally, more the rivalry within you. Now, the rivalry, you think, well, what rivalry's going on with me then, Gaz? It's quite often the mind, that matter, the ego, competing against the self, the true self. And the worst thing you can do with the mind is to get in there with a pitch battle with it because the mind's going to win that battle. It plays mind games at the end of the day, doesn't it? It will kind of like get the upper hand if you allow it to. The mind will demand to be heard. The ego will demand to be heard, to be express itself, to put itself out there and say, "Hey, look at me. I am the man. I am the woman. I am the one and only." Give it its moment in the sun. Just to say, okay, be bombastic, say your piece. And remember, this is all internally. And remember, all the time, eventually the mind's going to get a bit tired of its own braggadocio. And eventually it will start to calm down, and then your true self can come out. Your true self lives here, lives here, it lives here. And then you allow that mind to just gently merge with the heart and allow that heart energy to come in and just almost purify, cleanse, detox, align yourself with the higher energies, align yourself with this, with your whole solar plexus, your whole energy system into a much nicer place. And when the ego starts getting bolshy again, starts getting out there and says, all right, okay, right, I'm gonna have a little bit of a sing-song, allow it. Allow it. It's just like, when we go in meditation, when thoughts keep coming in, yeah, just allow them to go on their way and just sit there and observe them, observe the ego doing its thing, and just know that the noise will abate. And eventually you can relax and just say, okay, Mr. Ego, Mr. Rival, why are you competing against me? Stop competing. It's silly. It's daft. You're competing against yourself. So just allow that energy to move. And it's that kind of like, sort of like, kind of detachment. And eventually the mind will recognize that actually is the most sensible course of action and come in alignment with that, the true energy, and then the ego will sort of like say, okay, I've had my piece. I'm quite happy just to settle into that energy now. So that for me is the rivalry card. And we can choose one more. And, ooh, reversal. So reversal. That's kind of like an intriguing one. So it's going to make a lot of sense when I apply this one in a second. Reversal for me, though, is like always remember you have a choice in life. And sometimes we make choices and we feel obligated to follow them through, don't we? And I've done this. I'm going to actually say about, I always remember once, years ago, I applied for a job and I kind of like felt it was the right thing to do. I was sure I was going to make the move, make the jump. But there was this little voice saying to me, Gary, this ain't a great move, mate. This is not a good look for you. This is gonna kind of like backfire a little bit. And I know now that was definitely the right move. So what I had to do I kind of made the choice, even though I got the interview. They had the second interview all booked up for me, and well, his second interview is pretty much where they offer you terms, isn't it? And I don't, no disrespect, or touch wood. I knew I had the job, but I changed my mind. I've said to him, I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to stay where I am. And this is important that, you always have choices. You can sometimes, even though something may seem better to you, sometimes it's better to stay still, for whatever better word. I'm not saying that was the right or wrong thing to do for people, but sometimes just staying where you are, if it feels right, go with that energy. And it didn't feel right for me to go to this place at the time. And of course they was disappointed. They said, oh, well, we wonder why. I said, like, I was honest. I said, look, it just doesn't feel right for me right now. And I know 100% that was the right thing for me to do when I think back. Because the place was, as I found out, was a little bit chaotic. It was all over the place. And I was going to step into some kind of role that would have been most deleterious to my energy. So I stayed, and that was the right thing to do. And this is the thing with all choices in your life. And it could be that you find somewhere that you want to go to. It feels really good, and part of you's telling, yeah, but there's this. Listen to that. Always remember, listen to that. This may be telling you, Gary, no, 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 or whoever my dear viewer is right there. No, 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 dear viewer, don't do that. It's bad news. And you can always reverse. You can reverse backwards, and that's sometimes you've got to do that. And the whole point of that, when you reverse, you see things from a bigger angle, don't you? Backtrack, you just go down another road. And that's what happened with me. I backtracked, I went down another road. Rather than going into this place, getting stuck, and think, oh my God, what have I done? In life, there are times when it's okay to reverse and okay to say no. But now on a just like these cards here, we can reverse the meaning of those. So rivalry suddenly becomes unity, becomes sort of like togetherness. And this is what this is telling us. So for me, the cards are telling me, let's reverse those situations, those scenarios that aren't good for you. You got the power to do it. So turn the rivalry into unity, into collectiveness. Those who are here still with me right now, you are embracing, you are part of that unity, and I'll send all my love and gratitude to you for being part of that. And then ruins. So we reverse the ruins. Ruins, if you find an old ruin, yeah, do you reverse that? You rebuild. Rebuild yourself. Remember each day, every moment. This year is a new year. It's a new start for you to build something fresh. And we can always build things, whatever that may be for you. In the physical sense, you might want to build an extension on your house, for example. Um, you might want to put the money to build in, like, a sort of like the finances for a new car. These are little aspects we can do, or you can start working on yourself, rebuilding your energy within. Maybe the building within yourself, saying there's certain habits. I might be spending too much time video gaming. I'm going to stop that. I'm drinking way too much. I'm going to rebuild myself health-wise. I'm going to kind of like find myself new hobbies, new pastimes, new things to really invigorate my energy, to bring myself to a beautiful place where I have found happiness. I have found a place where I can express myself and be my true self. These are little aspects that we can all imbibe, embrace, enjoy. And so I would like to say thank you so much for all who have been today. And if you've made it this far, now's the time when I will ask you. I never do this at the start of my videos because I just don't feel that's wrong. But if you've made it this far, please do consider liking and subscribing. And if you feel this would benefit others, please share as well. But I don't do that at the start because that's just wrong, isn't it? Much love to you all. Take care, and I shall see you at the next one. Thank you very much. Bye bye.